It's still, hey everybody, welcome to another YouTube Hangout. Super excited to be back on with you guys. I have a special treat today. I have an entrepreneur named Dush, rhymes with push, who has an awesome podcast called The Entrepreneur Effect, and he's going to interview me for it around my book, Your One Word. And I thought I'd welcome him on board first. Dush, how you doing?
Great, Evan. It's great to see you on video. This is awesome. So I'm looking forward to recording the podcast episode live.
Cool. Well, I know you have your whole intro and set of questions and everything that you normally do. Before we start, is there just a quick intro you want to give for my audience so they know a little bit about you, what you're all about?
Yeah, well, basically, The Entrepreneur Effect is a podcast that is aimed at business owners and entrepreneurs, where we talk to entrepreneurs of all stripes, all persuasions, and ask them about their journey, what they've discovered, what they've learned, and the mistakes they've made, and what advice they might want to give. So that's what the podcast is all about.
Very cool. And for those of you watching, you can check out the link in the description afterwards to see more of his episodes and everything he's about. Over to you, man. I'll let you run the show, and I am your guest. Let's do it.
Okay, awesome. Well, so let's kick it off. Hi, this is Dush Ramachandran from Entrepreneur Effect, and our guest today is Evan Carmichael, the author of the book Your One Word. So, Evan, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Dush. It's great to be here.
Fabulous. So, give us, for the benefit of our audience, give us a little synopsis of what the book is about.
Sure. I believe that a lot of people are kind of living in the fog. I think a lot of people feel like they have a lot more potential than what they're currently doing. And I believe that the path out, the path to realize that potential is through self-awareness, to understand what it is that you stand for, what is, in my idea, the one word that you stand for, what the most important core value is for you, understanding what that is, and then applying it to your life. And for the entrepreneurs out there, applying it to your business as well. So you understand yourself, you then stand for something important, and then you can attract customers and a team around that movement that you're trying to build.
Excellent. So how does the process work? So give us a little brief overview of how the process, the one word process, works.
Sure. So it starts off as a very personal exercise. It's something that can be brought to a business, but you start off as you, the entrepreneur, the human being, starting to think about, first of all, this is not something just for 2017. This is not just a New Year's resolution. It's not, here's who I want to be this year. It's understanding this is who you've always been and will always be. Whatever your core value is that you resonate the most with, you'll still care about that in 10 years. So if it's, honesty is the most important thing to you, then you're still going to care about that in 10 years. It's not just, I want to be honest in 2017. So thinking about that. So think back to who you were 10 years ago, who you will be in 10 years, and what do you think will still be a consistent theme for you? Next step is thinking about what makes you happy and what always has made you happy. Thinking about your favorite songs, your favorite books, what you loved about your parents, who your favorite teacher was, of all the instructors that you've had in your life, maybe hundreds of different instructors. Who was the one that stood out to you while all the other people kind of faded into the background? And then what connects all those people together? What did you love about that favorite instructor, and how does it relate to what your favorite book is or favorite movie is? There's some connective tissue through that. So for me, it was Believe. My favorite movie is Seabiscuit. If you've seen that movie, it's about this racehorse that's undersized and a jockey that's oversized and a owner that had no money, and they all came together and somehow made this amazing streak of wins on this horse. But it's also what I respected most about my parents. They believed in me, the songs that I like, the friends that I have. And so understanding that allows me to build a life and a business that matters. If people have a hard time figuring out the positives of what makes them happy, sometimes people find it easier to go negative. What do you hate? Who are the kinds of people that you hate? What's the single most hated attribute that you have in somebody? That person you never want to see again. What is it about them? They're probably not a bad person, but what is it about them that you absolutely can't stand? And that's the anti-word. The opposite will be the one word that is more who you are and what you stand for.
Okay. So how did you come upon this discovery?
I think like a lot of entrepreneurs, I was in business, I was having some success, but I felt like I could do more. I felt like it was just a marketing tagline. Is how I started this. Like, hey, what do I want to be known for? What's my marketing tagline? And I was never happy with any of the taglines that I had. And I just saw it through the world of kind of sales and marketing. And then I realized that as I got down to the word believe, that it was much more than just a marketing thing of my business. It was who I am. It's at the core of what I'm all about. And I could bring that just as much to my life as it could to my business. And then I started looking for other businesses that had been built around their one word. And in the book, I travel across North America, interviewing different entrepreneurs, anybody who've built, there's 5 main businesses profiled, from a $50,000 full-time income business to then $500,000, $1 million, $5 million, and $150 million in revenue. All of these businesses being built around their one word, and learning from them how they did it, how they applied it, and how they use it in their business to build something meaningful. And I thought, wow, there's no handbook out there on how to do this thing. And so I decided to write it by telling my story and theirs as well.
Okay. So, so having written the book and having created this this concept of the one word, is that now a separate line of business for you, or is that, have you woven it into your existing business? Where do the points intersect?
Sure. It started off as me applying it to my life and to my business. I think what people see from the outside is just how it's impacted my business. So everything that I touched around belief started to take off. And I did it in small tests. I don't encourage entrepreneurs to just go all in and risk everything with this new campaign. I like to prove that it works before expanding. So I applied it to my newsletter, then I applied it to my website, I applied it to my YouTube channel, and anything around believe automatically took off. So I use this in my own business to help be the operating lens through which we make all of our important decisions. People became interested in why things started to take off. And as I talked to my friends and entrepreneurs and people that I've been helping out on live chats, I talked about the concept of, hey, I found my one word. If you go through the process, you might find success yourself. And there was so much interest in it that it became a book. Now, to make it that I don't have to talk to everybody one at a time, it's here, read the book. You can get the knowledge yourself as well.
Okay. And so having written the book, so are you getting you know, a lot of exposure for the book? Are people saying this is a great system? And are you sort of for want of a better term, are you franchising the concept of the one word to people that might want to implement it in their business or in their practices?
Yeah, it's still early. So the book just came out December 6th. So it's we're in the early days. It's been a whirlwind of media and interviews and podcasts and guest appearances and all that. And so it's been a kind of crazy, wild ride. People reaching out from entrepreneurs who want to apply it to themselves, as well as corporations who are trying to figure out, okay, how does this make sense in a corporate environment and not just to one person? So yeah, the momentum is picking up. It'll be exciting to see where it all leads into 2017.
Fantastic. All right. And so what is your primary business outside of the one word? What business are you in?
My primary business is helping entrepreneurs. I've had a website for, wow, I don't know, 15 years or so, basically profiling different famous entrepreneurs, giving advice. It was a repository of information for entrepreneurs who wanted to grow. My background before that was I was in a biotech startup. I was one of the owners. We built it and sold it within a 3-year period. And then I became a venture capitalist, helping raise $500,000 to $15 million for companies. So at the age of 22, I'd sold my business, was raising venture capital. And as a result, got asked to do a bunch of speaking and kind of traveling the world, giving advice. And I turned it into the website, and that became my primary business. I used YouTube as a transition, that I was getting my message out, not just on the web with content, but making videos about it. So I have a popular YouTube channel, has 500,000 plus subscribers on the channel. And that became an extension of my business. And then the book was never really, I never really fashioned myself as an author. I didn't really want to write a book. My agent told me that I needed to write a book. So I have an agent who books me off on speaking gigs and business partnerships and that kind of stuff. And he said, you need a book. It opens a lot of doors. You need a book. Like, I don't need a book. Yeah, like I have my YouTube channel. I have my website. I can open doors. It's not as important as it used to be. And so he kind of forced me down this process of writing the book. And then while I was in that process, the initial book that we talked about, I wasn't interested in writing. It came to me is when I was working through my one-word process and meeting these entrepreneurs who'd done it themselves. I thought that this really lends itself well to a book as opposed to a series of videos or articles on a website. And so that's how I got started on creating content around your one word in the book.
Great. Okay. Wonderful. So let's take a short break for some commercials. You don't have to watch the commercials. We'll insert them in post-production. So we'll just take a short break. And when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Evan Carmichael. Stay tuned. And we're back. This is Dush Ramachandran with Entrepreneur Effect. Our special guest today is Evan Carmichael, the author of the book Your One Word. It's a great concept. In fact, I've had the opportunity to take the one word exercise with Evan. It was really informative and very illuminating. So Evan, so you've created this concept, and I think it's extraordinarily powerful in that it gives entrepreneurs an insight into themselves and allows them to engage in their business in a much more authentic way. What sort of reactions have you got from people that you've spoken to after the launch of the book? Have you had anybody come tell you about the impact that this concept has had in their business and in their life?
A lot of great feedback so far. I mean, it's still early days. It just got released, so most of the people buying it are the super fans. So I don't anticipate everybody just loving it straight up, just like anything else. But a lot of emotional reactions. I think here's what happens when you find out, when you have the self-awareness and you really understand what your biggest core value is. The immediate thing that happens is you start to reflect. You start to look at your life. You start to look at the people in your life. You start to look at your business. You start to look at the decisions that you've made. And you'll notice that a lot of things are probably out of alignment. You'll notice that some of the people that you're hanging around and some of the decisions that you made and some of the ventures that you started, even to your personal life, how you are parenting your kids and how you are in your relationship, some of those things need to be tweaked. And for a lot of people, people have broken down crying after they figured it out because they realized they've been not living up to the standards that they should be setting for themselves.
Sure, I can see that.
And so that's been an amazing outpouring. Some people find it faster than others. Some people, they need to take a little more time to think about it, sleep on it. And so that process may take them a couple of weeks, where some people just pick it up super quickly and can immediately apply it. And so the initial response has been overwhelming. In my test audience before even publishing it, we sent it off to 30 different people. Half of them were not even entrepreneurs. It's a book written for entrepreneurs, but half of them, the test audience was not entrepreneurs, and they loved it as well, especially the first section. Because the first section is called Core, the second is Campaign, the third is Company. Core relates to anybody. Campaign and Company are more around the business context. Sure. But Core is really that. It applies to anybody. If you're in a job, if you're a student, if you're, people are buying it for their 10-year-old nieces for Christmas presents. It's really just, if you're a human being, you have a core value, and understanding what you're all about is a powerful thing to have the knowledge of. And so it applies to everybody, at least that first section.
That's cool. So do you think it is possible that at different stages of someone's life, they may have a different core value or a different one word? So when they think about it now, they may come up with a certain word which they believe in. And over time, is it possible that that could change?
I think it's really important not to get too distracted by the current environment that you're in to make a quick decision. So as an example, someone that was going through the process picked a word, integrity. And at the time, she was dealing with people in her life who were mistreating her, not giving her what she deserved, lots of conflict. And that word came out because she felt like she needed more integrity in the moment. But it wasn't really what she was all about. And so a couple months later, she realized, you know what, like integrity was just what I needed at that point, but I'm about something much bigger. Integrity is still part of who I am, but it's part of something much, much bigger. And so that's why the exercise of thinking back 10 years and forward 10 years, it's part of who you've always been. It's not just a New Year's resolution or something short term. Did you come up with your one word? Did you figure out what that was for you?
Yes, and as part of that process, I went through, and I think the one word is harmony.
Harmony.
Yeah.
So I love it. So thinking about, 10 years from now, are you not going to care about harmony anymore? Is that not going to be part of who you are? If it's the right word, then it's something that you're always going to care about.
Sure.
If anything,
Absolutely.
just believe in it more.
Sure.
Have more confidence behind it, right? And then think about, I love that word. That's really powerful. And then thinking about how do I bring more harmony to my podcast and the
Sure.
guests that I bring on and my kids. And, it forces a lot of self-reflection. And in my view, it's a constant. It's always been a part of you. You may not always have acted in congruence with it because you didn't have the self-awareness or the confidence to embrace it. But it's always been a part of you and always will be, if anything, just more and more and more strongly now that you have the awareness about it.
That is great. So let me ask you a different question. So there are lots of situations in which, for example, just like you gave the example of the lady whose one word was integrity. There could be a situation where you pick that word, integrity, and then you find that maybe you're working with some people that are not acting in integrity, or you're working for a company that is not acting in integrity. So in order to be true to your word and true to that one word and your core value, you have to cut your connection with that thing that is in conflict with that one word. So what advice would you give to someone who is in that position? How do you make that decision? Because if you're someone who's working for a company that is acting in a way that is contrary to your belief, your core belief, or your core value, it's a very hard decision to just up and quit. So what advice would you give to someone in that position?
Yeah, it's a very simple decision, but not an easy one.
Yeah.
Necessarily. And so I think it depends on your personality. Just like when somebody's starting a business, some people, they need to quit their job and burn all the bridges and like have no other option but to be an entrepreneur. And that's their only way in. And there are others who they could do it part-time and start on the side and work their way up until they get enough of a business that they can quit their job and go all in on their company. I think the most important thing is that you are making forward progress on this. So the awareness is the first step. I'm dealing with these people who don't believe in harmony, and it's causing me a lot of angst and stress and pressure, and I don't want to be around these people anymore. Maybe they represent a large chunk of your income. Maybe they're a big sponsor. Maybe that's a relative that you can't just cut ties with immediately. And so for some people, they need to just, once they realize that's it, I'm done, I don't care the consequences, I'll figure out another way to stand and just cut all ties. And for others, they need to slowly work their way in. Okay, well, that's a big sponsor, so I can't just leave all that money. I'm going to go and slowly start to find replacements and then wean myself off of it. Just like smoking. You want to cut smoking, do you go cold turkey or do you get the Nicorette and slowly work your way off? I think the most important part, though, is that you are making forward momentum and progress towards now living what your one word is.
Great. That is good advice. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Evan Carmichael. Stay tuned. Don't go away. And we're back. This is Dush Ramachandran with Entrepreneur Effect, and our guest today is Evan Carmichael, the author of the book Your One Word, which is an amazing concept that we were talking about, Evan, in the last couple of segments. So you've developed this concept. You've created a book around it, and it feels to me like this has legs. This can very easily become a movement. So what are your plans to take this forward? Is this sort of step one to the one word movie, the one word, the movement, all of those other things. Give us a peek into your future, if you would.
Right. I'm not that smart. I wish I could say that I had
Says
this
the
all.
modest guy.
Yeah. I wish I could say that I had this all planned out. If you asked me 5 years ago, would I have this book out and would I have the success on YouTube when I was just getting started, I would have said, no way. And so what I do know is, my one word is believe. I want to spread that in all of the content that I make in the books and the videos and the articles and the interviews. My goal is to spread more belief. I want people to believe in themselves more, to do more, to reach their potential. If I look at my big goal, I want to be able to impact 1 billion entrepreneurs. So everything I do, I want it to be at scale. So that helps me make decisions as to, I would rather write a book than do one-on-one coaching. Nothing wrong with one-on-one coaching, just not part of my ability to have that big impact. The specifics really change depending on what I'm interested in doing. The book opportunity came out. We jumped on it. We've had some success with it. The YouTube opportunity came up. I jumped on it, had some success with it. I tried 100 other things that didn't take off. And so I am constantly changing and evolving my business model. And I have no idea, like maybe in the next 6 months, I know what I'm working on. But are you asking where I'm going to be in 5 or 10 years? I have no idea. Just doing things that I'm passionate about and spreading belief.
That's awesome. And so for our listeners at this point, this is a very intriguing concept. Where can they get the one word book?
Anywhere you buy books, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, whatever your local bookshop is. It's in all the major retailers and online sites as well.
Excellent. And is there a website associated with it where people can come back and give you feedback as to how it worked in their lives?
Yeah, I love it. I love hearing the feedback. The website is off my name, so it's evancarmichael.com/one-word. And if you buy through there, there's also some bonuses that you get. If people email in the receipts, they get various bonuses depending on how many books they buy. And we are also doing a weekly book group in 2017, where every week for 7 weeks, we're going to be looking at each of the 7 chapters and guiding people through the process, answering questions. So if they email in the receipts, they can be part of that book group as well.
Fantastic. So, yep, I'd strongly encourage our listeners to go check out evancarmichael.com/one-word, and yeah, get the book and send in your receipts, become part of this movement, because this is going to be big. Evan, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us. This has been fantastic, and love to hear how things are going. So I'd love to have you back on the show maybe in another 6 months or a year when the book is now a New York Times bestseller.
I love it, Dush. Thank you for the great questions and the love, and it'd be an honor to come back.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.